Respectfully, I don't like that. I'm not changing a thing.
Okay.
I didn't stutter when I said it.
You want to stay loud and wrong?
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. So we don't have this chaos just because we disagree.
They would rather have an allegation of a war crime than let people in America focus on a bad economy and the Epstein files.
Yeah.
They would rather you look over here than over here.
And this is what reporters and everybody else needs to do. When you hear someone is saying and giving bad information, like Abby Phillips did the other day, she said that is not true. That is not happening. We all need more of that because that's the only way we're going to stop this in the bud.
That is not true. That is not happening. So Stephen A. Smith went on The View, and let's just say they had a score to settle with him. They were not happy about some of the things that Stephen A. Smith has been saying. He's been kind of venturing outside the bubble a little bit, and The View kind of brought him in to straighten him out, and things got a little bit tense at times. So get your comments ready and let's get into it. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. It's important to me, and I really appreciate it.
Welcome back. Stephen A. Smith has no shortage of opinions, whether he's talking about sports on ESPN's First Take or politics on his new Sirius XM
That's true. Stephen A.
show,
Smith, very
Straight
opinionated,
Shooter with
and I appreciate
Stephen
that about
A.
him.
So please welcome back Stephen A. Smith.
What's up, ladies? How you doing?
We have a question. Aren't you on live right now?
Yes.
Okay.
But I went on there from 10 to 11, and then they
then you
said
took a
they
break?
needed. My teammates at ABC needed me here, so I'm here.
I see.
You're right across the hall, though.
That's right.
How are you feeling now, a year into Trump? And what do you make of this discussion around affordability and him saying it seems like it's a scam from Democrats?
Well, that's rhetoric on his part. There's nothing surprising or unpredictable about that. You could see that coming from a mile away because he has to say that right now because it's an issue and a concern for the American people. And he wants to act as if there is no concern because everything he's doing is just so beautiful and so marvelous and what have you.
One thing I noticed about Stephen A. Smith, he kind of speaks to the audience. Whoever his audience is kind of dictates where his stance is on a lot of things. He does have strong opinions about a lot of things, but I wish he would stick to his opinions and his stance on issues instead of kind of jumping back and forth, which he does. He seems like he's trying to get these ladies to warm up to him because he knows the spanking is coming from things that he said previously that they do not like. But a couple things he said there with Trump calling affordability a scam by the Democrats, it's exactly right. And what he means by that is inflation was at record highs under Joe Biden. The price of everything skyrocketed. We all saw that, from groceries to homes to everything else. That all happened under Joe Biden. They're trying to correct that and bring things down. They thought that it should already be done by now. Well, it takes time. And also, Trump is trying to fix a lot of issues that we have with imports and exports and debt, national debt. And he's doing that with tariffs. And he said in the very beginning, it's going to be difficult. It's going to take time. And there's going to be a little bit of pain. And we're going through that pain process right now. And people like the ladies of The View, they always try to skip over that fact. And even Stephen A. Smith here, disappointed in his statement there. And you don't fix something like that overnight.
There are people that have seen the Epstein files, and if there was something directly incriminating about Trump, it's something that we would have found out about it before the election because every measure would have been exhausted to make sure he didn't return to the White House. And
You don't think Trump is in the files? I mean, he was mentioned over 1,000 times.
I'm not saying he wasn't in the file. It wasn't in the files. I'm saying that if it was something really, really incriminating against him, I think we would have heard about it by now. Epstein was doing what he was doing for years.
Yeah.
So whether it was 2015, 2010, I don't care when it was. If you're that kind of despicable human being, I want to find out about it. I don't give a damn if it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago. If you were that kind of person, we need to know you about
So
it.
you want to see the files?
Well, of course I want to see the file.
What they always try to do, they're trying to tie Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. And if they had something on Trump with Epstein, we would already know it. The Democrats, like Stephen A. Smith ranted and raved about before, they sat on this information for 4 years under the Biden administration and didn't release anything about Trump because they didn't have anything. And you're not going to find anything now, but they're obsessed with Trump and Epstein, trying to tie them together when we all know Bill Clinton was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend.
Me too.
Of course I want to see
Me
files.
too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because Trump is claiming that he aced the cognitive test. Even though he's going on late night Truth Social tirades, the middle of the night, he's texting and calling Governor Walz a name that we don't use anymore to disability. He's attacking female reporters as piggy and ugly. He's falling asleep in the middle of a meeting. I mean, I said yesterday that Marco Rubio is boring, but not that boring that he would fall asleep. So what do you think's going on with him?
Trump is being Trump.
Really? There's nothing cognitively wrong there?
Well, I'm not saying whether there is or isn't. What I'm saying is 77 million people don't care. They voted for him. And those same 77 million people
Is it
will
still
do it
that
again.
number?
They would do it. Well, you could say that it is or isn't.
I think
but
it's
the point
more.
is he's the president of the United States, despite the onslaught of stuff that was coming his way. What it comes down to is that you're going to have to beat him because he is going to make sure he dictates
If he
who his
stays awake.
successor is going to be.
If he stays awake.
Just compare Donald Trump and his work schedule to Joe Biden and what we saw over the past 4 years. It's night and day. I mean, maybe he did fall asleep at the meeting. It's, looks like he closed his eyes, whatever. He is almost 80 years old, and he keeps up a heck of a schedule. So I look at the results and what the guy does every day compared to Joe Biden when he was president. No comparison.
I want to talk to you about the
Anticipate.
bombing, my friend.
Yes.
And some things that you recently said.
There it comes.
You know I like you, right? Okay, so you recently accused Senator Mark Kelly, a veteran, an astronaut, of crossing the line for participating in a video reminding troops that they can refuse to follow illegal orders.
Okay.
Now, this is a perfect example when you watch how Stephen A. Smith handled it with his own audience and how he handles it here with the View audience. There's a big difference.
Let's see some of what you said, my friend.
Sure.
You know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that? You could go to the House. You can put up drawer up paperwork. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got us behind back in the White House. Had you left them alone since 2020, maybe he wouldn't be back. You don't tell military men and women to ignore an order from the commander-in-chief. You don't do that.
Caffeine's a bitch, you know?
Now, let me just remind you that Pete
Making a fool out
Hegseth
of
said in 2016, I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. Okay. Now, given the fact that the secretary himself said that, I'd love to give you the opportunity to perhaps change your position on what you said.
I'm not changing a thing.
Okay.
I didn't stutter when
you
I
want to
said
say
it.
loud and wrong?
Well, you could call it loud and wrong all you want.
Loud
You're
and
entitled
wrong.
to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine.
Okay.
Here's the reality of the situation. First of all, I don't give a damn what Pete Hegseth has to say because I will tell you right now, he was never qualified for the job. When you talk about DEI and eradicating that, excuse me, what was he doing hosting Fox News on the weekend and all of a sudden he's the defense secretary?
Okay, so I think Stephen A. Smith had the right reaction when he was talking to his podcast audience on the Mark Kelly and other lawmaker video, because they weren't reacting to any particular illegal orders that had come from the president or from the Secretary of War. And what they were trying to do, a lot of people believe, is to just create confusion and create dissension in the military and kind of tell people, you don't have to follow this president. You don't have to do what this president is telling you to do, because they put this video out there for no particular reason at all, because there was no illegal order that had been given that the troops were confused about or up in arms about. It was intended to sow division in the military and dissension, and that was what that was all about. In my opinion, that's honestly what I believe. I don't think it had anything to do with any illegal order. Now, as far as Pete Hegseth, I don't know what Pete Hegseth's qualifications are. I know he served in the military for many years. I don't know what his rank was. I don't know what your rank needs to be to become Secretary of War. But they always talk about him like they just pulled him off of Fox News. He was just some Fox News TV personality. Yes, he was, but he had a life previous to that. There's a lot of people on Fox News who are former politicians, former military, some generals, some people who worked high levels of government. And they always refer to that. They even, sometimes refer to Donald Trump as a TV personality because later in life he had a television show, even though he's, been involved in many businesses throughout his lifetime. He did not make his money in television. He's not known as a television personality, but they always do that, just kind of a little bit of misinformation they like to throw out there. So I don't understand why they're questioning Pete Hegseth's qualifications, because they don't give you any example of how is he not qualified.
It wasn't what Mark Kelly said. It's the fact that he was a combat Navy pilot who served in the military, who would tell folks, ignore an order when it could get
Ignore
them
an
in
illegal
the
order.
He did not say
I said
ignore.
illegal.
what he
I said
said.
illegal. I'm talking about illegal. I understand that.
He said you don't have
But-
to follow an
They know
unlawful
that. They
order,
already
and that
know
is
that.
in the military code of
And
conduct.
they already
I'm saying
know
to
that.
you, hold on. Which I'm aware of. Which I'm aware of.
But it didn't sound like you were aware of that.
Well,
during his
no.
show.
I disagree with you. It
Stephen,
sounded
can
like
I ask you a question?
I had two governors, by the way,
Well-
text me to tell me I was wrong, and they agree with you.
You are
and
wrong.
I had two senators that reached out to me and said you weren't wrong at all. All I'm saying is this: if you're a member of the military, I'm looking at the soldiers as saying, don't get yourself in trouble. Let somebody else do it. Don't you do it because it ain't gonna work for you.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith sounds a lot different on The View than he did during his podcast when he was talking about Mark Kelly and the don't follow the illegal orders. A little bit different take here on The View.
When we asked you if you wanted to run for president last time, you said, quote, hell no. So why is your name still being floated around as a contender? And is there anything that could change that to a hell yes?
And also, since you brought up Pete Hegseth, I'd like to hear Stephen A. Smith explain how he is qualified to be president of the United States, since he's so critical of Pete Hegseth and his qualifications. Let's see if he will address and give us some of his qualifications of being president.
Number one, because I think that I'd probably be a better candidate than most Democrats. That's number one. I wouldn't say that about Westmore.
Maybe.
I wouldn't say that
I
about
love
Josh
Westmore.
Shapiro.
Good.
I love Westmore. I love Josh Shapiro. Ro Khanna, I'm a fan of. I like him a lot.
Jason Crow,
You got to pay attention to Gavin Newsom. He's gaining some
Yes.
traction. I don't think he'll win, but he's gaining traction.
Why not?
Because I think that ultimately they'll look at the state of California,
Yeah,
look
California's a
at
tough
affordability,
sell.
look at homelessness, look at crime, and they'll say, hello, highest cost of living in the country. They'll be like, what? Wait a minute now. So I think that'll be a problem for him, but he's articulate enough to defend himself, and we'll see what happens
Yeah,
with that. But
but
as
that's
it
not
pertains,
his fault.
But as it pertains to me,
Yeah, none of that's
I don't
his
have any
fault.
desire to
What
be
are
a
you talking
politician.
about?
My life is really, really nice, but in
Yeah.
the same breath, I see when I see what I saw prior to the election. If you're going to come to me and tell me that's our alternative, what was going on before the election, and you're saying, yo, Stephen A., you could be on the debate stage with these politicians and you get an opportunity
mean
to call
Kamala?
them
Are you
out,
referring to
I would
Kamala?
love it. I'm referring to all of them. Everybody, nobody's
She
getting
was
a
the
pass from the
candidate.
Democratic Party. Well, again, she was the candidate, but we know what happened. I thought she was set up to fail by the Democratic Party personally because you bypassed the primary. You knew that Biden wasn't ready. You knew it for a year, and you did nothing. And you were really trying to sell the American people on pushing him forward as the Democratic nominee, knowing that inauguration he would have been 82 years of age. Stop it.
So what?
They knew
Well,
better.
here's-
That's a problem
here's-
for him, not
well-
everybody. Nancy Pelosi is sharp, but Biden didn't appear that way. Period.
He
They weren't
may
worried
not have
about him.
appeared that way, but my stuff was a lot cleaner and better when he was in.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just gonna say it.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. All right, let's move on.
It was important, I think, for Democrats to show that they stood with the LGBT community, that they stood with black women and women in general, because once you let us go, once you let women and poor people go,
Okay.
what do you have?
Respectfully, I don't like that. Let me explain.
That's okay.
Let me explain.
Just
Let me
like you
explain.
said to Sonny.
Let me explain.
He sure did say that to me.
Let me
We're
explain.
going to come back.
No,
We
no,
have to
yeah.
take a break.
Why not focus on Americans? Get rid of the labels, get rid of all the divisions, and just say, we're going to do what's best for the country. We're going to do what's best for all Americans. And I think people respond to that.
But what I'm saying is that during the campaign, were you doing what it takes to win? You had too many people going after him for stuff that wasn't going to stick. It wasn't going to influence his voters. So what I would say to you, Whoopi, and what I would say to anybody that doesn't want J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody like that to succeed him, focus on what's going to win.
Yeah.
That's where my sports background comes in. Tell me what's going to win. I don't want to hear, but I understand the LGBTQ community is important. I understand that the desolate and disenfranchised is somebody we should always be looking out for. I understand the economy. I understand immigration. I get all of that. But the point is, I'm trying to win to make sure that I'm in office and you're not. What is it going to take? The Democrats did not do that last
So
time.
what is the
and
winning
that's what
issue?
happens.
What is the winning issue now?
Affordability
Yeah.
and safety.
Yes.
Period. Affordability and safety
Yeah.
in the
Which
streets of the
affects
United
all
States of
those
America.
groups.
And
It does. It affects all
a
those
willingness to cross the aisle and show that you're willing to work with people to
Yes.
get stuff done
Yep.
so we don't have this chaos just because we disagree.
Yep.
I think that the Democrats try harder than the Republicans to do that.
Well,
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Now, when it comes to
here's
him,
what we do
other than
know.
Trump,
We do
yeah.
know that you can listen to Straight Shooter with Stephen A. Smith on Sirius XM every Wednesday night from 6 to 8 p.m. You can catch him every morning on
Let's give him a
ESPN's
plug.
First Take, except he took a little break today.
Now, what do you guys think about a possible Stephen A. Smith presidential run in 2028 as a Democrat candidate? Do you think that he's qualified? Do you think that he is somebody that Democrat voters would appeal to them? Do you think that he's somebody that would have a chance at winning a primary or even winning the White House? Do you think he will even actually run? It's hard to say, but in my opinion, I think it's more for publicity, maybe trying to get his name out there more in political circles and build his audience more for his podcast and his media aspirations that he has. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video.